Now by former United States Attorney General and Senator Jeff Sessions of Alabama. General Sessions, welcome back to the Hugh Hewitt Show. Good to have you.
Thank you, Hugh. Good to be with you.
I want to talk to you about China. Before I do, I want to ask you about a couple of things about your old Department of Justice. Are you following John Durham's investigation into the Russia collusion pattern of events?
Well, I am following it indeed. John Durham is a very, very effective prosecutor, man of experience, integrity, and respected. And I do believe the Department of Justice has an absolute responsibility to, at this point in history, to decide and find out how this investigation started, the basis for it, and whether it was properly handled.
What do you know thus far from what you are able to see and what people may tell you off the record?
Well, I'm not talking. I don't really want to talk about the details of what might be happening. It'd just be speculation. I have no insight or knowledge of what's going on, except that I do believe Attorney General Barr is resolutely committed to getting to the bottom of this, and I believe John Durham has the ability and the support he needs, and it's quite different than an inspector general because he can subpoena people from the intelligence communities and other places, which the inspector general cannot do, and he can call witnesses from outside to a grand jury. He has considerably more power.
Now, is there a deadline by which he must act if he were to bring indictments for anything, for any reason, and I don't have any reason to believe that he would, but if he were going to do so, is there a deadline by which he must do so because of the pendency of the election?
I'm not going to comment about all that. I know the Attorney General Barr will wrestle with those things, and they'll probably have some thoughts about that, but I don't think I should be advising the department on that.
And my last question about the investigation comes from a tweet by your old friend Chuck Grassley, who wrote not long ago, quote, "We are learning FBI flubs on Carter Page spying case are just tip of iceberg. IG audited 29 other spying applications on Americans and found problems with every one of them. Constitutional rights are at stake when FBI fails to justify use of spying tools. Reforms needed to protect civil liberties." What are your thoughts on your old friend's tweet, General Sessions?
Chuck Grassley, the Patriot. I would say this, the FISA warrants that were criticized by the Inspector General evidence a laxity in the FBI procedures that have got to be tightened up, and I'm sure the entire process is going to be reviewed by Congress, and it's appropriate that Congress do so.
Now, when I used to prepare those warrants for Attorney Generals Smith and Meese, long ago and far away, they reviewed them all personally. Did you review these warrants that have been criticized, General Sessions?
No, because I was recused on the Russia matters, but I did. The Deputy Attorney General and the Attorney General are required to, one or the other, to sign the final warrants, and the normal routine warrants were more often handled by the deputy, although I did a number of them when he was not available.
Do you know if any of those cited by the IG are ones that you signed, General Sessions?
I don't know.
All right, let's go to China because it seems very obvious to me that at least as to numbers of cases, China is lying. By China, I mean the Communist Chinese Party, not the Chinese people. What is your reaction to both the intentional obfuscation at the beginning of this crisis and their continued deceit?
This is so important for all of America, and this whole deceit about this massive cover-up involving this pandemic is just unbelievable. Josh Rogan at the Washington Post has an article today that said our people knew there was risk at these labs even as early as 2 years ago. And so, yes, this is the pattern. Hugh, you've seen it. China gets caught, they deny. You can accuse them, they deny. You accuse them, they deny, and they attack you. And then people get tired and they go away and just leave them alone. This cannot happen this time. I have called for a special select committee investigation like Pearl Harbor or Iran-Contra, where we get to the bottom of this and expose for the world the nature of this regime. They still have not given us samples of this virus, as I understand it, and which is an anti-humanity act. I mean, why in the world aren't they helping the world respond to this pandemic with every strength they have? Also, they just recently issued an order constricting strictly the papers being written in China, the scientific studies that have been going on about how to deal with this pandemic. They've clamped down on it dramatically, as they tend to always do. So our rose-colored glasses need to come off. We need to reset our whole relationship with China. As Attorney General, I started the China Initiative that initially focused on cyber attacks on the United States, and there are many, many of them. Cases are surging now in the Department of Justice. They have over 1,000 cases pending, and there were virtually none when I took office. So this is a big deal. This is time for America to tell China that if you're going to be a responsible nation and we're going to relate to you in a reasonable way, you're going to have to meet basic standards of humanity and law and decency. And it's a big deal, and I think the president understands it.
I had a very unusual experience on Al Sharpton's show this weekend, General Sessions, where I brought up the fact that we are all suffering because of the CCP's deceit. And my colleague, Zelina Maxwell, on the show with me, posted subsequent that it was really the bats' fault, not the CCP. I do not understand why American media has trouble coming to grips with the locus of the origin of this. Do you have any doubt in your mind that this virus would not have happened but for the conduct of the People's Republic of China, at least not the pandemic nature of it?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. You know, Dr. Gottlieb, our former brilliant leader at FDA, really a smart guy, he said, had they acted in December, the whole thing may never have happened. Southampton study in England said, had China acted 3 weeks earlier, the whole 95% of the infections may not have occurred. I mean, this is there's no doubt it started from there. Two scientists, one I think a student at Northwestern University, Chinese, reported that it likely came from the labs and not the wet market. It looks like Josh Rogan's piece today in the Washington Post indicates that our State Department people toured the labs 2 years ago, January of 18, and they found terribly dangerous activities going on and wrote a cable back to the United States expressing concern over the danger of the way they were handling these viruses and how it could get out.
Do you believe, as a former Attorney General of the United States and once and perhaps future Senator, do you believe that jurisdiction for damages against the People's Republic of China lies in any U.S. jurisdiction?
Now, Hugh, you're a lawyer and you know the Department of Justice. I'm not going to answer that, but I would just say this. They should be held accountable for the damage they've occurred wherever it can be established. And there may be opportunities for them to be held accountable to this. And in the course of it, we need to end the rose-colored glasses view we've had of China, take the Reagan view of trust but verify, that if we have a deal in the future, we figure a way to make sure that we monitor it, and if they breach it, we have an ability to impose damages on them. Those are the kind of things I think should be part of our total new relationship with China. China's an important nation. It's not going away. It got a billion good people there, but this communist government has taken advantage of us enough. It needs to end. This is the opportunity to do so, to defend America's interest, protect the people of this country and the world, really. And I think it'll be a real revelation for the people of China, too. It does get back to the people some way or another over time if we can expose the lies that they've told about this pandemic.
President Trump was accused by Joe Biden of xenophobia when he imposed the travel ban from the People's Republic of China. What's your opinion of Vice President Biden's opinion of President Trump?
It's just typical of the knee-jerk protect the communist government of China, the unwillingness of the left in America to understand it. part of it is it just seems there's always some sort of sympathy and a fear that pro-democracy forces, when they criticize communism, are somehow about to go to war with them or something. But we've got to be able to tell the truth about this regime. It's typical of communist regimes. They all lie. That's how they keep power. They don't respect truth as a reality. Truth is nothing. They don't tell truth. Their goal is to advance the regime. It's always been that. That's the rules for radicals. That's how they think. And America needs to reacquaint itself with the nature of communism and how it does not value truth as an entity itself. And obviously, they don't even really concern themselves about humanity. The whole world is suffering as a result of what they did.
General Sessions, couple quick political questions. If you win the primary and the runoff and then the general, can you work with President Trump, with whom you've had your obvious arguments?
Absolutely. I mean, President Trump's been strong on China. We talked about it during the campaign. I really, would love to work with him on that. And, of course, immigration, trade, those are huge issues that a lot of the Republicans have been dragging their feet on and not being sufficiently supportive of the president. I'll be his ally. I'll be his advocate. I think we'll be able to work together nicely.
Do you expect him to endorse either you or your opponent, Coach Tuberville?
Repeat that.
Do you expect him to endorse either you or the coach?
He did say he endorsed Coach Tuberville. Yeah, he did.
And so what do you make of the lay of the land? We got a minute here, running up to the July runoff. How's it look to you?
Well, we feel good about it. I think people are beginning to realize that you need a senator who, when they hit the ground in the Senate, knows what's going on, can get things done, who has not sold out to the establishment or special interest or big money, but has always been loyal to the values of Alabamians. That's what I've done. I really feel good about where the momentum is heading in this campaign. We intend to win this race and be able to continue to advance, as I have in the past, with integrity and hard work and experience, the values that we share. And my experience really is like in China. I mean, I started as Attorney General the China Initiative because I could see the danger that was occurring here. But that was all before this pandemic occurred.
Yeah, it was. General, last question. Do you regret taking the president's invitation to become Attorney General?
No, you don't regret things like that, Hugh. I did what I thought was right. We did so many good things as Attorney General. I'm so proud of the team that we accomplished, the help we gave the president to pick judges, the defending of religious liberty, the reduction of regulations, and the reversal of a surge in crime. And we started a plan that has now been reducing crime every year in America. So there were so many great things that we were able to accomplish, and it was an honor beyond words.
Thank you, General Sessions. Always a pleasure. Don't forget, America, I'm in the ReliefFactor.com studio inside of the Beltway.